So I learned that some people decided to change their career to nursing from whatever they were doing just so they can have an opportunity to relocate from their home country abroad to countries where nursing and other healthcare related disciplines are in high demand. In this year 2023, you do not need to do that. I'm going to show you a cheaper and easier route to relocate to the UK, England specifically, in this year 2023. Stay with me. It is no longer news that teachers have become perhaps the second most sought after professionals in the UK. But before I dive into the good news for today, let me give you a bit of background about this whole relocation thing as a teacher. Before now, teachers from outside the UK would have to be in the UK in order to apply for the relevant teaching qualification to allow them teach students in the UK. So as a result, some persons came to the UK through study means to do teaching courses that would allow them to qualify for this teaching qualification. Others, however, were lucky enough to come through direct employment to the few schools who were recruiting overseas teachers despite not having the relevant UK teaching qualification. These schools were very few. This was made possible because the UK government at the time developed what they called the 4-year rule, which allowed overseas teachers to be gainfully employed by English schools to teach students for up to 4 years, during which time they do not necessarily need to have the teaching qualification required to teach in England. But then after the 4 years, for some of their schools, they must, as a legal requirement, obtain this qualification called QTS, or qualified teacher status, if they want to continue practicing as teachers in the UK. Now, this was applicable to some of their schools that they called maintained schools. If you want to know more information about what maintained schools are, you can check that online. But then, despite this 4-year allowance, majority of the employing schools in England did not accept applicants who did not have the QTS. And so most of the teachers could not come through this route. So you see how difficult things were at the time. Now, let's get to the good news, the reason for this video. From February 1st, 2023, which is just next month, if you are a teacher from these 7 countries that have just been added to the list: Ghana, India, Jamaica, Singapore, South Africa, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe, and you have a teaching qualification from your home country and a subject specialism in languages, that is foreign languages like Spanish, French, etc., in mathematics or in any of the science subjects, then you can apply for the qualified teacher status from the comfort of your home. The teaching qualification you're supposed to have should be recognized in your home country, and you should be able to teach students from age 11 to 16. Now, there are other countries involved in this new scheme, right? As you all know, the UK has left EU, and so they are trying to make a few changes to accommodate overseas applicants for certain jobs. I have specifically mentioned these 7 countries because of the specific requirements attached to their application. So if you are from these 7 countries, you can apply for the QTS, or qualified teacher status, provided you have a teaching qualification recognized in your home country to teach age 11 to 16 students, and you specialize in teaching languages, mathematics, and a science subject. You get that now? The other countries that are involved in this scheme include Australia, Canada, Gibraltar, Hong Kong, New Zealand, the USA, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Switzerland, Ukraine, and all countries within the European Economic Area, or the EEA. But these other countries can apply even if they are not mathematics or science subject teachers. You see the difference now. But then that's a good news, because previously the 7 countries I mentioned were not part of the list. The Teaching Regulation Agency, or TRA, is responsible for awarding the QTS for both UK citizens and overseas applicants. Now, here's a summary of the main requirements you need as an overseas applicant for applying to teach in England. 1. You must have a bachelor's degree that is equivalent to UK standards. This will be verified by UK ENIC, otherwise known formally as UK NARIC. So this is like an agency that evaluates qualifications from abroad to ensure that they meet UK standards. Now, the good thing is most bachelor's degrees are equivalent to UK standards, so I wouldn't be bothered about this at all. Number 2, you must have a teaching qualification that is equivalent to a level 6 qualification and recognized in your home country. For example, it could be a Bachelor of Education or a postgraduate certificate in education. Number 3, you must also have some teaching experience, at least 1 year. However, if you do not have any teaching experience at all, there is still a way. The level of experience that is required depends on which route you take to obtain your QTS. So, even if you do not have any experience at all, there might still be a way for you. And I'm going to explain in more detail how to get the QTS through the 4 available routes in the next video. Number 4, you should have the professional status needed to be a teacher in your home country without any restrictions. And of course, this status should qualify you to teach students that are aged between 5 and 16. But for those 7 countries I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the focus is for students aged between 11 and 16, as I already mentioned. Finally, depending on the country you're applying from, you may be required to take an English exam like the IELTS, and you should score a minimum of 5.5 overall, which I think it's an easy thing for you to do if you were taught in English language. If this teaching route is something that interests you, or you have relatives or friends who might be interested, subscribe to this channel, send the video to them, and let them subscribe to the channel, because I'll be bringing you more details, in-depth details about how to apply to teach in England. If you like this video, please smash the like button for me, share the video, and once you subscribe, click on the notification bell so you can be notified each time I upload a new video. I'll see you again shortly for more details on the QTS application. Until then, bye for now.